Alright, today we are going to have a look at making a budget yoke for strongman training. Put together out of a few things you can just buy from a hardware store and from a climbing store. So you'll see here I'm making a couple of loading pins out of some climbers tape and a couple of barbell ends. Alternatively, you can use things like the Iron Mind loading pins. In this case I'm just threading a washer and then a bolt onto 25mm wide climbers tube, which is extremely strong stuff. So we're just threading those on there to provide a stop that'll go up inside the barbell ends, and then just tying a knot off in the climbing tape so that it jams up inside. And climbing tape only costs about $3, $4 a metre, and you'll need about 6 to 7 meters to make the yoke like this. So once we've got the knot in there, you'll see the nut and the nut and the washer sitting there, and then we just pull those through. They're going to jam up inside the end of the barbell, and now I'm just going to put a knot in the other end, leaving a loop. So I've doubled it over, just a quick thumb knot, and once I'm finished that, I will have a loading pin which I can then attach to my yoke with a carabiner. And I can also use this for things like rolling thunder or weighted chin-ups, and we also use those same barbell ends as the stone simulator in our gym. So very cheap, very versatile. Okay, when you're working with this climbers tape, you've got to make sure that when you cut it, you seal the ends off by melting them with a cigarette lighter. So now what I'm doing is making the longer slings, the long loops, to attach the loading pins to our yoke crossbar. And the way we do this is with a special knot called a tape knot, which I'll try and film in a little more detail later on. It's very important when you're using this climbers tape that you do the knots properly, because the tape's quite slippery and some ordinary knots have a habit of working loose. So there's a few specific knots you can use for that. And these slings, again, multi-purpose, not just for the yoke. These ones I made with 220 centimeters of material each, and gave me loops that are approximately 90 centimeters long after you've taken the knot out, and they can be used for things like catches in the safety racks, for daisy chaining things. There's a wide variety of uses. So now all I'm doing, this is actually one of my sort of cheap, dodgy farmer's walk bars, and simply pass the loop around the bar, then run it back through itself to attach it to the bar. And this is simply a 50mm steel pipe. And you could use a regular Olympic bar for this as well. With the regular Olympic bar, you've also got if you put it inside the loading sleeves, that'll stop the slings from moving out towards the end of the bar, which is unlikely to happen because the weight that is on the loading pins causes those knots to jam. So all we've got here is I've just thrown a couple of 25 kilo bumpers on, and I'm using a couple of carabiners from rock climbing to attach the loading pins to the slings. And here it is in action. So it's a little different to a regular strongman yoke. I actually found when I was using this that it's very, very difficult because the weights can move independently. You can't really brace the weights with your arms like you can in a normal yoke. You see there I've just added a couple of barbell collars to the outside of the pipe to stop the slings from falling off. This time through I've loaded it up to about 75 kilos a side. And you can see there the core working very, very hard. And so this is not a complete substitute for the Super Yoke. You definitely wouldn't want to load this up to absolutely maximum weights, hundreds of kilos. But I quite like doing these without a belt to try and build the speed and also the core stability to do heavier yoke work. And because I only get out to do event training once a week, this is something I can do in the gym. So you'll see here, pretty wobbly. I look almost like I've had a bit too much to drink. So that's just another tip if you want to make some equipment. This only cost me, the whole setup, a few dollars for each of the carabiners and a few bucks for the climbing tube, and it took me about 15-20 minutes to put together.